Stop. Stop.
Amanda Bynes said it best. Oh my gosh.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of Tactical Discourse with my buddy Mugen here and I as we go over the election recap. There's been a lot in the last couple of days, post-election happenings with the insane sort of red wave to take something that we're used to hearing, as we saw just truly a landslide with the Electoral College, the House, the Senate. I know the House is still waiting because you have to tally up all the votes to get there. But crazy, dude. I mean, we were up all night following this.
Yep.
And just like, oh my God, I'm going to feel a lot better once like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and shit start to lock it in. But it was surreal as shit. I mean, where were you at mentally that night? I know we were texting back and forth. Like we were going nuts.
Dude,
we were like, oh my God.
It was insane. So like I first initially saw it where I caught it at the very beginning, where I think Kamala had like 3 points on the board and Trump had 20.
Yeah,
or something like that.
I was like,
I had
don't get
just
too
caught it.
excited.
I was like, I know. Yeah, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, oh shit. I was like, we're winning. But I was like, it's still really, really early. But I was getting super hyped, right? So I ended up I was gaming with Nani in that night when I was messaging you back and forth and losing a lot of matches in Rocket League because of our texting back and forth, not going for kickoffs.
What? Why did you go for kickoff? Bro, we just took Ohio.
Know, exactly. Well, we were on camera, so I was like this. I'm like this. And he goes, bro, what the fuck are you recording? And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, dude, I'm not recording anything. I said, I'm messaging Kaz. We're talking about the election. He's like, motherfucker, blah, 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 and like goes on to his rants that he normally does. But then eventually, like a couple matches later, he's like, oh, you're just talking to Kaz about the election. Like he truly like mellowed out. It's so crazy. But
switch flipped just there.
Dude, so bad. Yeah. But it was, I told him, I was like, all right, man, like I got to get going to bed because I've got work in the morning and I got to make sure whatever. But dude, I was like this.
Yeah.
All night until like 3 a.m. where they actually finally announced everyone. And dude, I recorded JD Vance's speech when Trump pulled him up, and like I woke up my wife and I'm like, babe. And she's like, what? I was like, we won. And she goes, good. And then falls right back to sleep, dude. But yeah, dude, I was so hyped. And shout out to Dana White, man. Dude, like, I'll tell you what, if you were tired when you were watching that and then you heard him speak, you were then awake. Because, bro, that man hyped me up so much. But yeah, it was
the reactions.
It was a crazy night.
Trump just bringing everybody up on stage. I mean, and Susie was like, I don't want to talk. Just stop it. No. It was just great because he was just like, I want to thank this person. Where's this person at? Where's this person at? Come up here. Come talk. Yep. Like this was a team effort. And I was like, oh, good shit, man. That's awesome. That feels good.
Yeah. What was really nice is I'm sure you saw that picture of Trump, Dana White, and Elon all sitting together at this table. That's been going around. There's also another picture that's going around, and I kind of want to like go into Trump as a person just kind of a little bit. He may not have been like the most ideal candidate at the beginning, like when he first went through his election process, but I mean, I really want people to kind of forgive and not necessarily forget, but like see what he does moving forward, because for a man to cry, period, a man to cry takes a lot. Like most men don't, especially like strong, kind of arrogant men like Trump. But there's been a picture that's going around, like once he actually won the election, there's a picture of him like shedding tears over it. Like he was happy, like genuinely happy that he won this election. And a dictator doesn't cry for shit like that, bro.
Well, and he went through it, man. Like, this wasn't something that was easy or just a walk in the park. And the guy got shot at, and by what, 2 inches, because he happened to look, he's still alive. You know, these aren't things that just make this like an easy, whatever. You know, I'm just here to look popular. I'm here for myself. This is all about me. You don't subject yourself to this sort of scrutiny and attacks from people all over and physical attempts on your life if you're in it just for you.
Exactly.
You know, there is so much that went into the importance of him taking this election. And I know that there are a lot of folks that are hurting right now. You know, and I want to say that is okay. You know, I know a lot of you have seen the reactions online, and I don't want to, you know, beat a dead horse too much about the way people are reacting, but one of the things I do want to bring up off the start is that it's gonna be okay. This is just one lost election, and it'll allow for some reflection on what went wrong and a way to maybe connect more with the full voter base of our country versus what might have been in your circle, in your in-group, in the very large echo chambers that are the Democratic and Republican parties a lot of the time. And if you don't want to take it from us, you can take it from Kamala herself. Check out this clip.
Now, I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power. A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States. And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. To the young people who are watching, it is, I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before.
So when it comes to Kamala Harris and her concession speech, I felt it didn't feel disingenuous at all to me. Yeah. I really felt like the words that she spoke were real. And honestly, God, this is gonna sound messed up, and I don't mean this in any malicious intent, but like that is probably the realest speech that I've heard her do this whole campaign. You know, like it came from her heart. And I really feel that if, you know, things go well this year or these next 4 years, and she does try to go into office after Trump's term, that she may have a better chance, only because she'll be more prepared. I really think that she, like I said in the past couple of videos, you know, she's kind of just been thrown into this, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that was really, I guess, planned.
Well, I would probably echo that, and also just what we've already said about it feeling like she wasn't able to really run as herself from her own strong beliefs and talking points. You know, she was parroting whatever needed to be done by the powers that be. And we've seen, especially with even how you've got women on The View that are tearing each other apart, because you got two women on there saying, no, we need to take accountability. We were detached from the voter base. We were focused on identity politics and, you know, the issues that we thought were important with gender, trans, everything else, instead of thinking about the fact that parents don't want to be sending their kids to schools that are getting burned down in riots when they want them to go there to get an education. You know, we're more worried about our pocketbooks, the cost of things around us, and whether or not we have a secure country. It was showing that there was such a detachment from the reality of what was actually on the minds of the majority of voters, which, I mean, shout out where it's due. When the last time there was a popular vote, I think, was Bush 20 years ago for the Republicans.
Yeah.
And then before that, I think it was Daddy Bush ahead of him.
Yeah. That dude, there was very little blue in this state or in this country. Like,
and the amount of people that changed from previous elections that went red instead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yep. I thought the same thing. A lot of the swing states, man. PA. Okay, so we can kind of go back on the night of the election. I was literally looking at the numbers. Okay, so there's these millions of votes for this. They're 70% through with checking all of their votes. Like, I had a cap. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna wait until like each state reaches 92%, and if Trump has this much over, then he won that state. And for the majority of it, I was right, and it was dude, it was awesome. And I was honestly, I was gonna call it and be like, all right, I'm going to sleep because I got to work in 4 hours. But dude, I couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't. The excitement and the intensity of this. Actually, well, the excitement. I wish there was a little bit more like pull on both sides, but this was a very decisive victory. Like,
yeah, I think that was also really important for us as a country too. And again, credit to Kamala Harris for saying those words you needed to hear, which is, we're going to honor this election. We're going to appreciate that this is democracy working as intended, because what that does, contrary to how Trump didn't handle things so well in 2020, is ensure that your constituents aren't escalated or radicalized. It leading from the top, leading by example, just to quell it right from the get-go. And we know that there were things from Trump that were hidden, that he, said to peacefully protest, that he offered Pelosi the National Guard to quell things on January 6th. It wasn't what people seem to think, that he was over there cheering on attack. That was the image that was portrayed. That was inaccurate. It just wasn't true, because he was getting blocked and banned and censored to actually see what he was really saying, which is, we need to stop. We need to have law and order. These videos are there. You can see Trump saying that we need to do this peacefully. I know you will go down there and peacefully make your voices heard. But the thing is that that's lost in the noise, because he did let his Trump side come out and get angry, and he saw that he didn't think that things were right. And honestly, frankly, for me, maybe for you too, you can give me your thoughts. I think that 2020, it's in the past, dude. We've moved on, and I don't think people need to harp on that anymore. And I think that it's really great, because I have seen some people online that are trying to push that bucket forward. Something seems fishy. Where did the 20 million votes in California go? Like, what's going on? Yeah. I'm like, no. None of that. Listen to your leader. Kamala Harris did the right thing to say, we will honor this election. We're going to support Trump. And there was a lot of mirrored speech from Hillary's as well in the concession, but it had the same message, to support the other side and to move forward as a country. Because honestly, we all want to make America great again. And I think focusing on our health is a really important part.
Yeah, definitely. Amanda Bynes said it best. Oh my gosh. So there's been quite a few reaction videos that have been popping up on X, TikTok, like people sitting in their cars screaming, why you hate me, blah blah blah, like, and then just like really like losing their absolute minds over Trump winning this election. According to one of them, an asteroid should hit the United States and completely render us extinct.
Yeah,
But
let's check those out real quick. All right, and we're not
Yeah.
gonna linger on this too much, but yeah, guys, look at this shit.
Stop. Stop.
I genuinely hope an asteroid hits the United States of America. I have given up on humanity in this country. I think it'd be better if honestly we were just all gone. I think we should just have another like mass extinction.
Well, yeah, as you can see, I mean, like that's the world that
healthy.
we live in. That's healthy, man.
I mean, really, did she believe that in her heart of hearts that she would rather there be a freaking mass extinction
It's
over
wild.
Orange
Think
Man
about
bad? You know, like, and guys, I hope you realize like this is the last time you'll ever have to hear about Donald Trump as president. Like, this is it. This 4 years, bro. You're done. Second term, it's over. And for anyone who's like, oh, he's gonna have full control and do what he wants to become a dictator, take your tinfoil hat off after you've had a moment to grow up and just kind of throttle back, like breathe, man. In, out, go smoke a joint. Something. Chill, dude. Like, I can't, bro.
I can't, man. It's crazy. Like I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the kind of person to do that, bro. Like if Kamala were the one to have won the election, I would have been like,
Well, shit.
Yeah. Well, shit.
We're gonna have a busy 4 years.
This is where we're at. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's like it's really not that bad. It's not like that exactly. Yeah. Oh, by the way, he got his gun. Yay!
Yeah, baby. Let's make sure we're clear and safe here because I didn't just chamber around. Yeah, we've got the beautiful SIG 365 Fuse by 6 Hour. Yep, no magazine. We're clear and safe. We do this right on KM Tactical Discourse. But yeah, I finally got my audience member here.
Ooh, I heard the draw. It sounded so good. Ooh. So, side note really quickly is I've actually got we're hoping to be going to the range the weekend after Thanksgiving as a group. We're going to see my neighbors. We're going to potentially see my wife if she's not trying to hide in a corner and not be on camera. And then we're also going to have this gorgeous man here. We're going to be doing some fun shooting over at an open range. So hopefully we can get in maybe some content of that. I'm hoping to do that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I got an extra
but,
GoPro. I'm gonna see about trying to capture that. Maybe get like a mount or something or some way to strap it on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll definitely have to mess around with that for a little bit. But to kind of go back to our topic of making America great again and Maha, guys, just relax. Like,
Yeah.
the one thing that I want to say is that we need to be unified, period. Whether it's the Democratic Party or Republican Party that had won, like, we need to work together to make this country successful. If we're going to be pissing around and fucking getting all mopey and shit about things, then we're never going to reach our end goal. Like, the whole idea is to progress and move forward. And we're not going to do that if we're holding on to the election that happened 4 years ago, or the way Trump did handle things, or things that JD Vance said, or like, and to kind of like go into kind of like a reflection of that topic. You know, I've got my neighbors that are far left, like so far left that I need a GPS in order to find them.
Oh, and they still want Teslas.
And they still want Teslas. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they want a Model Y and they want a performance Model 3.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I had recently just talked to my neighbor. She's transgender, and she was worried about a lot of things, you know, that are going in. And the thing that I really respect her for is she took the time out to do research on her own. Like, it wasn't like someone bashed her into doing it. She looked into it, and I asked her afterwards. I said, hey, did it sway your vote at all? Like, let's just say hypothetically, like we're still in the election, would you have voted for Trump? And I respected the answer that she gave me because she didn't say yes. What she told me was, I can't say whether or not I would have voted for Trump, but I can say that it would have been more likely. And that just proves how much control the media has on you and how you're force-fed things unintentionally, knowing, like, you don't know that you're being force-fed all this bullshit. You see it, and honestly, John Travolta said it the best in Swordfish, and I love this line so much. Dude, he said, have you heard of Harry Houdini? He wasn't like these other magicians who were just fully focused on television ratings. He was an artist. He can make an elephant disappear in the middle of the room filled with thousands of people. And do you know how? Misdirection. What the eyes see and the ears hear, the mind believes. And dude, that is, I'm telling you, I love that movie so much. Like,
such
that part
movie,
and that whole scene. Oh my God, bro. That is my favorite line. And it's true. Like, don't be cattle, man. Don't be cattle that's led to be slaughtered. Do your own research and do it on both sides. And that's something that she did. And I'm super, super proud of her. And I look forward to hopefully this being a great 4 years, because obviously, like, even though I voted for him, like, we still don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, things could be bad, things could be good, who knows? But
we'll be here to bring it to you every step of the way, guys. That's what we're here for.
Exactly. Yep, definitely looking forward to doing that. But we're both looking forward to, like, the next term, and we shared our beliefs on who should run for president. She thinks that Kamala should try and run again, which I also agree.
There are a few people that are in that boat.
Yeah, maybe we see like a little bit more of a real side of her, and then we also talked about JD Vance and Tulsi Gabbard being another good candidate for presidency, or even have. Dude, could you imagine JD Vance as president and then Tulsi Gabbard as vice?
Honestly, that or the flip of that. Either way.
Yeah, dude, that would be a nasty duo, bro.
That is a pretty intimidating ticket, man.
Yeah.
And on the point for Kamala real quick, because, like, we have obviously been Trump supporters here, voters for Trump during this election. But what we're trying to do is show that transparency and integrity and room for growth to the same level that we hold that standard for allowing yourself to see that Trump has grown since his first term and that he is changed. We want to also be accountable to keeping that standard for Kamala too. We need to be able to allow her room to grow and improve. And the Democratic Party is going to be going through a sort of from the ashes scenario. They've recognized, they're calling each other out, that they got to rebuild and focus on the voters. Bernie Sanders has been burning some bridges, man. And I think a positive way. He's been calling it out. He's like, you should have expected to lose the working class because you were not talking to the working class. You were too focused on Trump. And I think that this is going to cause infighting. It's going to be rough. Right now, the Democratic Party is being torn asunder and is going to have to rebuild. But I think that it's a good thing. And again, that room for growth on both sides. If I'm going to say it for Trump, I got to say it for Kamala. And I still look forward to her, Buttigieg on the ticket, hopefully. I mean, Gabbard was on their side, so I would have had her for that. But, I don't know where she's going to end up. I don't know that she's officially fully changed to the Republican. I'll be excited for her either way, honestly.
Yeah, same.
So, but I mean, I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves with saying that, but I mean, it's just our forethought. We want to grow with the audience and follow all these things, and in 2028, be able to do what we're doing now with a whole new set of candidates and a track record that, again, hopefully is to the positive. But
and to kind of go on to our next topic, with these rights and these people being afraid that these rights are going to be taken away, we've got nothing to worry about, man. Like, these women that are worried about abortion laws, these are made in state decisions. Like,
a lot of which have constitutionally protected rights for women to choose. Like, there are states where, like, that's in their constitution. Like, you're good. Like, constitutions are damn near impossible to change. So if that's protected in your state constitution, seriously, take a nice deep breath. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like we've got Florida that we actually just talked about this before we even started recording. You know, Florida was 15 weeks that you were able to, you had until you weren't able to get an abortion, but 15 weeks. It's right now, it's currently 6 weeks. They tried to pass a 24-week term, but that was turned down. Yeah, that was turned down. But we were both thinking that maybe, if the possibility of going back to the 15-week were still plausible, like that wouldn't be a bad idea. I can't say so. Personally, kind of like sharing some thought of how I feel about abortions. I do feel like women should have a choice in that. Now, I honestly think like some states that go 36 weeks trying to do that
to viability, which several do, like New York, California, Colorado.
Like, come on, like that's a little too long. Like me personally, like 6 to 15 weeks, I would think that you can have enough time to really think like, do I really want to keep this baby? Do I want to have an abortion? Do I want to, carry full term and put up for adoption? Like, like there's so many different things. And what I feel is a lot of these women that, there's a couple of categories. So first there's the woman that feels like they have no help. And to all the women out there that are thinking that they don't have help, they have help. You just have to be willing to look for it. Don't feel like you're in the shadow. Like take the time to research, facilities near you that are willing to help women in need and things like that. But like
Vance brought this up on the pod with Rogan too, that we need to show that women have resources. We need to do better to show that infrastructure is there to help women who are scared or concerned about bringing in a baby if they're not ready. Like there's a concerted thought going into making that more accessible, more an open awareness to it, so more people know, versus kind of being in the dark and being like, oh shit, am I gonna be okay?
Yeah. And then there's the other side of that. Abortion is not a form of birth control. So for all of you sleuths that are out there, close your legs for like more than 5 minutes and stop doing it.
Yeah.
Be responsible, have that protected sex. Like get your IUDs, get your birth control, make sure that the men wear condoms.
Shots,
don't give me that
pills, whatever. Like
bullshit,
all of it.
dude. Like it needs to be done. Like don't do that. You're killing people needlessly.
Yeah. To go ahead and quell something, because I'm sure there's going to be some folks that say, not your body, not your problem, or you're not a woman, you can't talk about this. Like, no, closing off the conversation like that is not going to work. This might bug a few people to hear, but women are not complicated more so than a man is. And abortion is not a complicated topic. It's nuanced, but it's to say that it's not overly difficult to discuss. I'm not saying it's not complex. I'm saying it's not complicated. It is something that you should be able... It's the same reason that people struggle to have these harder discussions around religion and politics, because what you do is you make it taboo to talk about, and it's off the shelf altogether. And then with that, you lose the ability to have the conversation because you've got no experience in having it or going back and forth. And I'm not here to say men should have control over women by any means. Like, I know there's a lot of selective hearing that comes with this, where you're just hearing that I'm a guy, your issues don't matter, I can't relate, whatever, so it's irrelevant. But the biggest point is ultimately for the guys too, when it comes to having your sex life, your intimacy, personal accountability and responsibility need to be at the forefront of what you're doing, whether you're just hooking up, whether you're in a marriage. I mean, I'm going on 7 years of marriage, and we've never had to use an abortion. We don't have kids.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and it's so regularly available now. Like you were like all the different ways you can do it with the IUD, with a shot, with pills, with just basic contraceptive like a condom. I mean, unfortunately, I guess we do need some better sex education in this country, because you don't want the scapegoat of having the abortion there as backup birth control. And that is not to say, like, I'm sure that is a small percentage of people. Like when we're referring to this category, we are not blanket stating women across the board. Like, don't take that either.
Yep. So I can kind of. So I'm glad that you brought up the point of like the contraceptives and things like that. So I'm not gonna go into full detail on what I do for a living, but in this particular area, I have knowledge in it. These contraceptives, in most cases, are free with your insurance. Dude, it's free.
Yeah.
It is free on your insurance.
And universally acceptable in the United States. Like, contraception acceptance versus abortion law are two very different things. And contraceptives are not under attack.
Exactly. And the one thing that I will say is that you will have there will be some plans that won't allow it. And in most cases, the reason why they don't cover it, it's going to be for simple things. Well, not really simple, but it's going to be companies that have like a religious factor to their job.
Oh, sure.
So, so if it's like Advent Health is a very Christ-based hospital.
Yeah.
So they don't, of course, believe in abortion, so they're not going to cover abortion. Or pardon me, they don't believe in birth control.
Contraceptives.
Contraceptives. So they just don't cover that. But in most cases, the IUDs are covered. That is going to be a procedure thing that, of course, you would have to get approval from the medical side of your insurance coverage, not the prescription side. But the contraceptives are 100% covered in most cases, depending on the brand that you get. But definitely look out for that and take the time to do your research to make sure that not only you are protected, but you also protect the partner that you're having intimate relations with. You know, this is something that both of you should be aware of, and both of you should be accountable for. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of people try to avoid is the accountability aspect of it, and that's why it's so hard to have conversations like this, because when you just kind of deflect it and throw it on a shelf, like you previously said, and don't do any form of research, you don't have any knowledge to go based off of when the topic comes up. You kind of just have that fallback of like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It's not your mind, not your body, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of just deflect it and kind of run away from the conversation. But when you've actually researched it and taken the time to do it, it's gain the knowledge, like know your options, know your resources. It's this whole thing it's not that hard to follow, guys.
And it's not all on women here too. Like I know that again, there are going to be some of you that just see a couple of guys. What's the term? Mansplaining, this kind of stuff, and that's not relevant. You got to get past that because it's also on your partner, whether it's a man, a woman, doesn't matter. So one of the things that I've even mentioned that I can do myself, and this is of course a personal thought. So like I'm not advocating everybody just go do this, but there is a procedure a man can have. You know what it is? A vasectomy. It is a simple outpatient procedure that is fully reversible. So if you're in a state where your woman cannot, like you're like Texas or Arkansas where it's full abortion ban and you guys are just struggling, I mean, hey, if you got a man that's willing to support his girl, I would do it for my wife if we were in a state where that was just crippling her that much. Because again, it's a simple outpatient procedure. It's also usually covered. I know for veterans, it's largely covered through the VA. And then also it's reversible. I mean, it can be kind of crazy for a guy to initially think about because it's like, oh, what? You want me to what? Well, it's like, well, that also kind of gives you some perspective about how women feel with being told what they can or can't do with their reproductive parts. So it's like, I get it. We understand the need for autonomy, and I'm for that. The issues that Roe v. Wade was struck down were because as a piece of legislation, it wasn't great. And having that federal link at a country level, creating that sort of line that no state could cross, create a lot of tension. Because when you think about these states, going back to what we were talking about with the state-to-state issue and how most are in favor of women's choice, the ones that aren't, they're that way because of the voters and how they've decided they want that state to run. Not every woman has the same view in this regard. Just like any issue that there is. So these very conservative places where you have these more strict laws, it's the preferred law of the land by the people who live there. And if you want that change, you got to go out and vote for that change. You make it happen at the state level. Or if you really can't afford it, or can't afford the emotional stress or the handling of it, you can move, which I know sounds like, maybe I'm brushing it off, but it's also a reality. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I honestly, that actually has come up a bit with our talks with my neighbors and my wife. But that's exactly what I said. I was like, dude, it's not that hard to move. Like, move out of the state, move into another state that allows you to have certain freedoms. Like, I can't tell you how bad Florida is being blasted right now because we're a Republican state, and like we've just like a lot of people think that like so kind of off topic. There's a hurricane right now that's just below us, and
Raphael,
it's supposed
right?
to. Yeah. So there's this dude that's going on. He's like, yeah, hurricane coming. Wipe Florida off the map. Blah, blah, blah. And if you look at the track, dude, it's going to Texas. And there was a guy that commented, and he goes, I really think you should look at this graph again because that state is Texas, not Florida.
But now it's heading straight up into Louisiana. So I hope
Dude, I mean, it's... Oh, gosh.
Well, and again, even here in Florida, we had that 6 week. Like, you have till 6 weeks. And that kind of goes back into the accountability. Like, if you're like, oh, but what if I don't know by then? Be proactive. Take the initiative. If you didn't have safe sex and you think, like, pullout game was not on point there, we might have a problem. Take the initiative. Don't just wait until all of a sudden you're actually gaining size and go, oh, shit. Like, that's where the accountability comes in. Of actually getting ahead of it.
There's also the plan B, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And in most states,
the morning after pill.
Yeah, that's considered emergency contraception, and I think in most states that's also fully available.
Some states they might not be, but I mean, there's still options, is what I'm really trying to get at. So really, like, use your options. Like, practice safe sex. This guy doesn't have any babies yet. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been active. Like, it's not something that, yeah. I mean, you just got to play your part, man. Like, you as women, and then us as men, we both share a part in this. Like, you have to. If the guy is not willing to put on a condom, then guess what? Don't have sex.
Yeah, obviously doesn't care about your future. If that's a stopping block, get rid of the dude. Like,
exactly.
Find a guy that's worth your value, because you got to know your own value here. It works into it for sure.
When it comes to our gay rights, we're seeing a lot of videos that are actually, I'm honestly quite surprised. There's the one that we mentioned earlier was the JD Vance podcast with Joe Rogan, and talking about normal gays.
Yep.
Getting a majority of the vote. But yeah, you guys are not going to lose your rights. You guys are still going to be able to love each other, to
get married,
to be miserable like the rest of us in our marriage. I mean, so like, it's
you want to avoid the slippery slope thinking that comes with, because we saw this when Roe v. Wade was overturned, because they're like, oh gosh, what's next? Now gay marriage. But that wasn't the agenda there. It was simply to get that back to the states, which we've already said we don't need to beat that any more than we already have. Now,
exactly.
That doesn't then mean that the snowball continues to build and go downhill and crush gay rights and set us back in ways that people are worried about. But it also does highlight that you don't want to also just like ignore what's going on around you. It's very important to stay involved in your local and state governments and see what's going on, because these are the people that eventually make their way up to the federal level. Look at your proposed amendments. When we touched on this earlier between some of the states that have amendment protection, their state constitutions, also be careful, because like passing a law versus an amendment in a constitution is very different. A law can be repealed, but if something sneaks into your constitution that you don't like, you're stuck with it. You can't just back out of that. That's why 3 and 4 in Florida didn't pass, because the Amendment 3 was basically going to create a weed monopoly for one company, and Amendment 4 reached too far with the 24 weeks and also took away the need for some consent and reduced the necessity of it being a primary care physician that was in that field. Like, there was just, they overstepped. And for constitutions, DeSantis put it really well here in Florida, which is your default should be no. It is on the people who are trying to make the amendment to convince you that it is truly a good idea. Because if that change goes through, you're SOL if you didn't actually look into it. But the laws and such are another game. Legislation and everything, like getting involved, staying involved, and protecting the freedoms that you cherish in the states you live in. You're gonna have to do some work, guys. You're gonna have to crack open the internet, since books are kind of like, what? Last century? And do some research, man. Yep. Know your state, know what's going on, stay ahead of the issues. We're always on the visual prowess for like 2A stuff that's getting attacked. That's the same thing when it comes to gay rights, personal autonomy, life versus choice. All of it.
And then one thing that I really want to call out is I have a lot of respect for the gay and trans community, more so towards the ones that are not pushing this on our children.
Yes.
I really think that's a big no. And
it should be a unifying force right there, man.
Yeah. You mentioned books, and the minute that we got on the subject of gays and their rights, and now we're going into transgenders, but now you mentioned books. There's a book that that I saw that is called, I think it's called Pregnant with Daddy or some shit like that, and that's just, come on, like that's it's a kid's book, so it's we're going to share a clip really quick. It is from a person. She's on X if you want to follow her. I think she's hilarious personally. And this last video that I watched with her kind of really speaks exactly to our point. It is her name is not Melissa Vitelli. But yeah, feel free to check out this video.
Trump set to ban gender operations for minors in all 50 U.S. states and vows only to recognize male and female as the two genders. Absolutely insane. Do they think this is homophobic? As a gay, I completely fucking agree with this. Leave the kids alone. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a fucking cat. I wanted to be a cat. I dressed like a boy. I still dress like a boy. I am a proud gay woman who likes other gay women, specifically my wife. So the left, since you're here, spare me your bullshit. Because you know what? Thank God I grew up in the 90s, or else I would be a fucking botched boy right now. When all I want to do is be a woman who loves other women. This is not transphobia. This is not genderphobia. Get the fuck over it. Welcome to America. Welcome to anti-woke America. We're not doing this bullshit anymore. And I will be the fucking spokes-lesbian of this fucking campaign.
Yeah, so what did you think about that video?
I mean, I just wanted to go preach. I love it. Like, there is a bit of irony that needs to be called out, I think, in two big ways here, if you'll allow me this. So, a lot of the issue that I think was good when it came to the progressive movements for the LGBTQ community was to avoid being forced into stereotypes and roles and everything, and to allow people to be themselves, which is great.
Yeah.
But then you run away with it, and you go from combating gender norms to forcing gender conformity by saying you can't just be a gay man or a gay woman. No, you have to be trans. And that is the message. That's the message that is as pushed by some, not all, not everybody. But there is definitely a portion of this where you have a child that might be curious, like she said, wants to be a fucking cat, or wants to be a tomboy. Like, can you imagine 90s tomboy girls now being told, like, you're probably a trans man? Like, dude, like, no, it's not good. That is literally reinforcing the gender conformity stereotypes that you wanted to fight. Like, that's the irony there that bothers me. And then to, jump forward into another example where a lot of people, including myself, who more socially align with the left, would be very much against forcing religion back into schools. I am totally for, like, world religions classes, like where you get to learn about Christianity, Judaism, going back to the Greek gods and learning all this history stuff. That's one thing. But having classes where you're actually being proselytized to, being taught the Bible, being taught a specific thing, you immediately want to jump in and go, that's a breach of the Constitution right there. It's freedom of religion, not endorsement of a single religion. And then on top of that, It's indoctrination, you know? I am all for anybody being of their faith and practicing their faith. You can have people who are Catholic, Christian, Muslim, and everything in between. That does not mean that their 5-year-old is a Christian or Muslim or anything. That 5-year-old is the child of a Catholic parent. Mm-hmm. This is how it is in identity politics. You are prescribing these things, whether you want a virtue signal as a parent to show that you're a good person behind this movement, or you just want to be relevant, whatever the reasons might be, or you may just genuinely think that your kid might be this one day. You are pushing these ideas onto them. You are pushing the identity politics and the gender conformity onto children that are just curious, that are going through life questioning their sexuality, questioning who they are. Am I straight? Am I gay? Am I a cat? I love it. I love that she said that, dude, because it's so good. Dude. But like, let kids be kids. And when they're adults, and Trump and Vance and a lot of people on the right vibe with what I'm about to say, let adults do what they need to do to be happy. As long as they're not breaking laws and they're doing things that are reasonable. Like, we also don't agree with having men competing in women's sports. Like, you want a guy boxing and beating the shit out of women just because he's trans? Like, no, that's a problem, man. Like, these are the issues that are important. Keeping, gender affirming care just out, like, bye. No, leave the kids alone. That is not cool. If they grow up and their gender dysphoria leads them to thinking that they're only going to be happy converting or transitioning, okay, they're adults, they can make that decision. And I will support you to live the best life you can to find happiness. I freaking love your neighbors, dude. And I've loved the gay community. I've had conversations with customers that are trans. I mean, a lot of you guys that are watching this know me from my Cyberlive channel. Like, I'm talking to thousands of people all over the spectrum. And they're great conversations. And a lot of them, man, resonate with us on this protecting the kids, keeping them out of it thing.
Gotta protect the kids, man. Wait, like, it's funny that you mentioned cat, dude, or that she mentioned cat, because that's what my daughter does, dude. She has these like little like hair bands that have like cat ears and stuff on them, and she's always like walking around like this and like pretending that she's a cat. But it's like, it's part of their imagination, man. Like, I don't want them to have a life like I did, where like I had to grow up quickly.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I had to grow up quickly. I had 3 younger brothers. I have 2 older sisters. And I had to grow up, man. Like, I didn't have time to be a kid, and that's something that these kids nowadays sorely need. And just to kind of go back on like pushing like the transgender ideology on children, I really want to say, like, shame on the parents that are using this for publicity.
Yes.
Like, the fact that you have like your 7-year-old kid like wearing makeup, dressed in drag, like he's like about to do something that's wrong, dude. Like, it's one thing. It's one thing to
your children.
Like,
come on.
Yeah, it's one thing to have fun with your kids and kind of like, I don't want to use like the word role play, but like play, like pretend. Like, if you want to do something like that, like in the comfort of your own home, just so they can kind of have like that imaginary fill, that's fine. But like to be like, to put your kid on hormone blockers and like a whole bunch of other things at the age of like
permanent alterations, man.
Dude, like, come on, that's excessive.
It might sound stupid, but it's kind of like the tattoo thing. Like, you gotta be an adult to get a tattoo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you can remove them, but like permanent change to your child for maybe a moment of curiosity they're going through, if it's genuine, or you as a parent trying to get into the trends, which is just abhorrent. And I know that's got to be a small number of people, I would hope. But
I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it with the hope. But I mean, let your kids be kids. They are going to question their sexuality. They're going to question, like, some may even be uncomfortable in their own body, which is okay. Like, it is okay to feel the way that you do. I'm not saying that you need to like immediately search out medical attention or like or anything, but it doesn't hurt to go to therapy.
Or just listen to them and talk to them and ask them how they're like, why? Like, be supportive. That's different than like pushing them down a path.
Exactly. Exactly. Why
Being
do you
a
feel this
passive
way?
listener versus a proactive action taker in that regard. It's like, don't be hasty, guys. Like, chill.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, dude. It's really not. It's not that difficult, guys. Like I've got 2 kids, and my daughter likes to think that she's a cat all the time. My son likes to talk like he's a baby all the time, which annoys me sometimes. I'm like, just talk to me like a human, bro. Like, I don't understand what you're saying when you're like, meow, 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 meow. Like, I don't understand that.
Kids being
So,
kids, right?
yeah, man. But I mean, you gotta accept them for who they are. They're their own little people, and not saying that this is for everyone. I mean, there are going to be, certain cases where little boys or little girls really feel like they are in the wrong body, so to speak. And, at some point they're either going to grow out of it and accept like they are who they are and they are what they are, or they are going to eventually transition, which is okay either way. What we're saying is just don't like force feed this down, children's throats.
Let them grow and mature.
But-
I mean, the brain is developing for many, many years, and personalities are changing. And a lot of times, your son or daughter might just be gay, which is totally cool. They don't need to transition. They're just gay.
Yep.
I mean, she said
Exactly.
it great. She's like, I just want to be a woman that loves women. It doesn't mean you have to. That just gets back into the, forcing the stereotypes and conforming to gender norms and such. And sometimes people are just gay, man. And that's a good life. They're happy. Let it be.
As long as they don't add any more letters to their fucking like thing, I'm
I can't
okay, bro.
keep
'cause
track.
I know. I mean, I got it's LGBTQ plus, right? There's nothing else after that, right? I don't think there is.
I think some have tried to, but guys, that's what the plus is for.
Yeah.
Honestly, it could have just been LGBT plus. I know Q is supposed to be queer to separate from normal gay, which is to just be like non-binary and different. But I mean, just plus is enough. We don't need to go LMNOP on this. Just plus.
Oh, we don't need to go LMNOP.
And it's okay to laugh about these things.
Oh god.
It's okay to laugh.
Another thing that is concern, that is something that we for sure need to say. It is okay to laugh,
Yeah.
dude. Like, if you
Comedy's
can't laugh at
allowed.
yourself, it is, dude. If you can't laugh at yourself, we were just watching a video of us, dude, and like there was something that I said that we were just like we laughed at together, and that's how you know that you're bringing relatively good content, is like if you can look back at your like past episodes and be like, that's funny. And it's good, and that kind of brings me to our next topic, which is going to be mass deportation, for some of the and just so you kind of guys are wondering, how did we go from abortion, gays, trans, children to this? It's the mass deportation is we're not going to get into it in this episode, because we really feel like this is something that kind of deserves its own.
A lot of nuance.
As well,
detail.
as well as the Second Amendment, I believe, is what we were going to have in that.
Well, sure, yeah,
And
like, pro-gun versus gun control, and, I mean, these are conversations that require a lot of in-depth coverage on, to get both sides' pictures through, too. It doesn't take any time at all to just blurt out what we might think. But to consider the deeper nuance, and I think even more so here with immigration, and this dovetails off of everything else, because these are a lot of the concerns of people who are freaking out with the fact that Trump won. That's why we're talking about these things, which are a lot of the biggest concerns of the left, which is what we've already said with abortion, gay rights, trans, and the way we handle deporting 15 million people, as is the concern. And rightly so. This is not a small topic.
Yeah. And we kind of reflected this on our first episode, where we were talking about our thoughts and what we should do as far as a mass deportation, or how a person can gain citizenship in the U.S. And we're going to drop the clip here, so feel free to enjoy it. It's a few minutes long, but yeah, just give us your thoughts on it. One of the thoughts was, let's just say someone from outside of the U.S. comes in here and has a child. you know, and that person gets caught and then gets deported, what happens to that child? That child is now in the system, right? You're splitting up a family, essentially. So, you know, I was telling them, you know, it's, you know, that's why we should come up with policies specifically for certain things like that. One of the systems that we thought about was, you know, maybe they, you know, if instead of just immediately deporting someone, maybe they should go through a process to become a U.S. citizen. You know, and
like if they have a child in the U.S. that's like a natural born citizen to fast track. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense if we can get the resources in place.
Exactly. You know,
For
and
sure.
and the thing is like I told them, I said, you know, the first 6 months, I think that it should be like a year thing. Like it should take a year for you to become a U.S. citizen, and you don't get deported unless you've committed some type of crime. We want to try to earn as much credibility with you guys, which is why we are wanting to put this in a separate episode, because things that we had said in our first episode, which you just saw, are kind of opposite of what is being said.
At least from one guy who just gave zero fucks and said, hey, we don't have to separate families. We can just send them all out of here together.
Yeah. So, I mean, technically, we're still not separating families.
Not separating families. That problem's solved.
Yeah.
But I mean, as you can imagine, because getting into the legality of natural born citizen and everything else, like there's a lot here. So we want to give it its due diligence and cover it more in depth. But this is, you know, what Mugen's getting at is just letting you know we're thinking about this deeper than just, oh yeah, this thing. You know, it needs more attention.
Yeah, we don't just want to like shit out our first thoughts on it. We want to like really, like, honestly, I think that the best way that we can handle this is look up the some immigration laws, see what it takes to actually become a citizen, like what paperwork you have to go through, how long does it take, like things like that, and becoming a U.S. citizen the right way, versus trying to get grandfathered in, I guess you can say. You know, with having kids. But yeah, that'll be a topic for another episode with a couple of other things.
The biggest thing, guys, is like we wanted to dedicate most of this episode and especially like kick this off with mentioning the concerns that you have. And by you, I'm talking to all of you that are hurting. And it's okay to hurt. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to feel like shit that Kamala didn't win. And just remembering, like holding on to what she said about supporting Trump, about it being okay, about keeping up the fight. You know, this isn't give up, it's over, we hope an asteroid hits and mass extinction. Like, that's ridiculous. No, we need to be adults and work together, bridge the divide. The party can be rebuilt, and one of our goals is to go forward together. And one big thing I think happened here, that I might have sort of alluded to earlier on, was the true definitions of progressivism versus conservatism, which is that progressive things are largely good. That's what leads us to, you know, fighting prejudice and segregation and everything, and allowing for gays to marry and find that happiness and to be recognized like heterosexuals, everything, like all the progression forward, accepting trans, accepting people as they are. Like, these are good things. This is part of progressivism at work in a good way. Environmental activism to try to make sure we look at our planet and that we're not going to destroy it. Like, these are good things. But what happens when progressivism isn't checked is they get a few inches and take a few 100 miles and just run. And that's how you eventually get into the very hardcore identity politics pushing, the DEI arguments, a lot of the riots and the divisiveness and the problems with all of us butting heads, the extreme environmental activists that will deface and vandalize property, the way people vandalize the Capitol with the Hamas and Gaza situation. And conservatism is the natural rubber band snapping back the other direction, or the pendulum swing that says en masse as a full population, whoa, hold up. This is getting out of hand. We need to reel this in and check ourselves. And I think in a big way, that's what this election did with the popular vote and everything the way it hit. It was a countrywide way of saying, this has gotten a little crazy, guys. We need to reel this shit in.
Fix this shit. Yeah.
And that goes right back into the Democratic Party pulling at each other and realizing they got to fix stuff, which is good. That's healthy. That's how you grow. So I just want to echo that as hard as possible. It's going to be okay. You know, we're not here to like stomp you into the dirt and laugh at you because of a fucking election, man. It's one of many that'll come, and many that will come. Again, don't be worried about Trump taking over somehow, becoming a dictator. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. And this kind of goes back to it's okay to laugh. And the reason why I say that is because there are going to be a lot of memes, a lot of videos. But dude, like, you guys have to, I'm really hoping that in the years to come, you look back at some of the videos that were posted and be like, fuck, like, that's okay, that's funny. Like, all right, now I can see it. Now I see that we really didn't have anything to worry about. Like, now, like, honestly, and it's okay to feel stupid too. Like, I mean, I do that all the time. I there's things that's like, oh, duh. Like, I have a moment. Like, everybody has their moments, but what you do with that moment can truly define who you are. So just remember, be careful with things that you say, because internet is forever, and you don't want to be portrayed as a certain, I don't want to say party or thing, because I'm not trying to, like, whatever, but like, you don't want to be looked at in a particular way. Sure. So just like, if you guys have any like questions, concerns, anything like that, you guys can feel free to like message me personally on X, you know,
DMs are open.
Mugen_XS, or you can do at the KM Discourse. We'll be more than happy to chat with you either which way. But you guys, we have your back, dude. Like, don't think that like all MAGA nutheads, because I'm not a full-blown MAGA, but I'm pretty fucking MAGA. Like,
I take it to the literal definition there. Like, we do want to make the country great. We want to make it healthy. We want to make it strong. We want to the hell out of it, man. Like, we want to be able to laugh. We want to be able to have a good time.
Me, dude. I wasn't expecting it. That was good.
Oh man, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, and we're gonna be covering everything that comes forward. Like, I don't know if you've seen, but like, even just in the first couple of days of things going on, like, Putin's reaching out to congratulate Trump and talking about being excited to bring an end to what's going on in Ukraine. And did you see Hamas openly comes out and says, we want an end to this?
Yes. Dude.
Called it, bro. Called it. Anybody would have told you that with Trump winning.
Dude, because Trump is literal definition of fuck around and find out.
Yeah, and they don't want to.
He is, dude. And no, they don't want to.
And that's good.
I'm sorry, dude. But any man that is willing to be like, hey, here's a picture of your house. If you don't let us bring back our troops, we're fucking you up. Like, period. Like, he stood on the grounds of Korea with Kim Jong-un, whatever. Like, that's, dude, I'm sorry, but I just don't feel like Kamala would have been able to do that. I feel, and I told this to
maybe
a
future Kamala could, but not this one.
Maybe not this one, no. But I did say, like, if fuck, dude, I did say that if she was in office, they would have no way in hell done that.
Yeah,
no way in hell. It would have been a negotiation.
They tried to get Barack to go over there, and I think he expressed that he wanted to, but he never made it happen. He didn't do it. Like, back when Obama was president. That was something that was claimed, or
I thought that was recent. I was
no. Yeah, my bad. I'm talking about years ago when he was in office. Like, that was something that was like on the agenda, but no one had ever executed.
Yeah.
I mean, to have the balls to say I have a red button too, but mine's bigger and works, and then go and break bread with the guy, like, that's awesome.
Yeah, bro, facts, man. I'm telling you, like, I really think, like, guys, we need a president with balls.
Yeah.
Not in the literal concept, but like, we do. Like, we need someone with grit, someone who is going to really fucking just go in and fight for us. And I'm sorry, but I don't think, at least as of right now, I don't think there's any better duo than I was gonna say MAGA and JD Vance, but Trump and JD Vance. Like, dude, like, Trump doesn't give a fuck about any other country aside from the US. Like, he doesn't. Period. And he's made that known. Like, if you're gonna try and blow us up, guess what? You're gonna send one, I'm gonna send you 15. Like, that's just his mindset, And then JD Vance is wanting to protect his family. Dude, we said this in the last episode, but dude, when he was talking about, like, when the first attempt at the assassination of Trump and how he got his family together, went to his house, loaded all of his guns, and just sat at the door like, let's fucking go. Like,
America.
Bro, it doesn't get any more America than that, man. Like
Yeah.
that shit was just hard, bro. But I mean, it's that's something that we sorely need. We need to go back to in order to progress, we have to reflect.
Yeah.
In order to progress, we have to reflect. And in order to reflect, we have to kind of go back just a little bit to see, okay, where did I mess up? Like, where did I mess up? Where do I have to fix? And then how can I make it better? Like, it's not that we're trying to just like end certain things. It's just how we approach certain things. You know, how we need to compartmentalize. We just have to have sections for our own things, you know? And I think with Trump and JD as president, we're just gonna fucking, bro, me personally, I have like such a gut feeling like this is gonna be like the most amazing 4 years, personally. Like,
I mean, it's going to be a lot of work. There's a lot that he wants to do, but I mean, he just recently, when he was talking about a lot of his plans, is like no tax on tips, Social Security, overtime. These aren't things that just help the rich, guys. Those are things that help all of us. And we got to be able to see that, like, yeah, so this is another kind of really important thing for anybody who's like, oh, he's only going to help the wealthy. Let's look at the contrast to that. Even if we were to grant that he is for corporations helping the wealthy, the other side of that coin is for them to leave our country. You think these big companies that do what they do for us, the products, the services, all the progress we have, if they're not taken care of, they're going to go somewhere else.
yeah.
So we either give them their just desserts or we lose them. I think that's something worth talking about, man. And it doesn't just help them, it helps everybody in a sense again too. It's going to help the middle class. It's going to help the cost of what we're shopping for, whether it's groceries or products and services across the spectrum. And then the tariff conversation being another very interesting and pretty nuanced one too. And it's actually good that Elon's there because he can help sort of balance that out, because he knows what it is to have factories in Germany and in China, which China, I don't want to look at China as an enemy. They're an adversary. A very strong and very real adversary does not have the regulatory burden we have, which is how they're able to move so fast, because to the chagrin of all of us, they don't really care about dropping a freaking rocket booster on a village. They just keep going. And Elon's got the first ever wholly American-owned company in China. That's never been happened before. Usually you have to partner with some Chinese corporation founder or something to have Chinese partnership. You can't do it solely American or solely on your own or solely your own thing, but he did. So having him where he is so close to Trump is good for diplomacy, especially with China, as well as managing tariffs, because tariffs can be a great way to encourage American production and product and consumerism here versus outsourcing shit. But it also can cause inflationary response. You know, it's not all amazing to do one thing. There's a pendulum here, some give and take, push and pull. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on all that.
Yeah, I agree. I really think that that would be a good another good topic to kind of get into in the next episode with the mass deportation. Maybe we can cover like some really big things in our next episode. We'll do mass deportation, we'll do tariffs, taxes.
Yeah, we can save the 2A for another one, because that's kind of out of the ballpark of these things. I think the handling of our immigration reform, taxes and tariffs and foreign policy, small topics, you know.
I think small topics. Yeah, I think I mean we may not even be able to fit them all in that one episode for you guys, but we'll definitely make an attempt. If we do, it'll be a long one. If not, what we'll do is we'll probably break them up into 2 episodes. That way you guys can have a breather listening to these 2 idiots talk.
I know, and like all the feedback, guys, because I could pretty much call myself a specialist in like the fitness world with the knowledge I have, minus like actual degrees, and I'm really good with a lot of space related stuff, physics and such, as a science communicator, but I never proclaimed to be like an actual authority on any of these things. But I also think it's okay to have conversations and be a communicator and talk about this, and then y'all, who I've learned through the Cyberlift journey that there are incredibly intelligent software people that have corrected me and helped me learn. And I'm looking for that from our audience here. When it comes to a lot of this political stuff too, it's like there are going to be those of you who are economists, or you're in the financial sector, or you're actually border patrol. I need to see if I get my buddy Dan on.
Yes.
Border patrol out in California to give his thoughts on stuff too. That, I mean, I don't know, with his work, might not really be able to do that. But if anything, just, you know, seeing what he thinks. But yeah, we want that feedback is what I'm getting at. I know we've said that a few times, but it's important because y'all help us to learn, be less wrong, and, you know, be corrected where we are. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I do. I really like the interaction that we get with our viewers. Like even the shit talkers, man. Like I love all the views. So it's feel free to share your perspectives. I would love to get Dan on here and do a video with him, even if it's a short one, just like even if mass deportation had its own thing, like his own thing, like I think he would be great for something like that, being that that's like his niche, his thing that he does is work border patrol, kind of get his perspective on that. That'd be pretty neat. And then maybe I can get my neighbors set up and we'll do like views on transgenderism.
Yeah, and where they're at.
Yeah. I think
and we're not gonna have
so
like
cool.
I think it'd be really cool, and we're not gonna be confrontational hosts.
No,
you know, it's
all talk.
Yeah, you know, I mean, honestly, Rogan's such a good example for this, like letting people talk, and just being a decent person and having a conversation versus, you know, attacking somebody or, you know, whatever the case. Being open to correction, but, you know, not being a dick. There's no reason for it.
And the thing that I'm excited about the most, honestly, like if we were to ever get my neighbor into hopefully I can get both of them. If I can get both of them in it, that'd be so cool, bro.
That'd be
we
cool.
Can all four just be on Discord, just chilling and talking,
just shooting the shit.
But yeah. So like I it would be really cool to get variety, and a variety of perspectives, because she is far left, bro. Like I said, sometimes I need GPS to find her, but
well, she's already shown some impressive ability to grow by actually just looking into some things. And I mean, the best thing you can do, guys, is just dive. I know it's uncomfortable. It's a natural, innate human tendency to be in our groups, to be like, we're tribalism. I mean, we are tribalists by nature through our evolutionary path. It's just like, that's how animals operate, and we are the human animal, and we operate that way. That's why we have our cliques, our groups, the things we like, and it's super uncomfortable to step outside of that. But you'll learn so much and challenge yourself when you do.
Keep feeding us, guys. And by that I mean like the debates that you guys put in our chats, like that helps us significantly. Because it kind of gives us more talking points, and it also allows us to get a perspective of somebody else's views.
But yeah, I know we talked a lot about a lot of tough things, and we look forward to getting more in depth in these issues and such going forward. Thank you again, guys, for your time and for your feedback. Listen to us shoot the shit and act like a couple of fools and tell you what we think. You know, hopefully you vibe with it, or at least it gives you something to think about.
Yeah, guys. Thank you for everything. Like we said, we like the feedback. So please let us know how you feel about this video. If there's anything that you agreed with, disagreed with, and remember, when in doubt. Bro,
why are we like this?
I know. Oh man. But seriously, guys, thank you again. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And thank you for the time that you guys.
Serious face.
Serious time.
We're gonna be all right.
Yeah, we are, guys. We're here together. We're here to stay together. And just remember that. Just try and treat people the way that you want to be treated, and let's just love each other and grow, man. Like that's all we got to do. But thank you guys again for your time, and we will catch you in the next video.
Guys, we're doing some good shit. You know, we were getting rid of divisiveness. We were getting rid of, you know, we're addressing the race issues. You know, we're looking for this equality. But you've taken that inch and fucking ran with it. What? Maha?
I'm laughing. No. Man, no, not man. No. So I was looking at her videos and I was like, God damn, dude, like I always look like I'm like sunken in. And it's because I fucking have my seat like always down to like the lowest fucking setting. So I'm looking and I'm trying to like match up. So I went too high. So I'm like this and I'm just going like this.